Yes, everybody, Russ and the West End Network. Hope you're safe and well. Hope your Thursday afternoon is going dandy. It is Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Not one, not deux, not trois, but quatre stories pour vous, you lucky devils. If you're new around here, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. But also don't forget to check out leesatmybrand.com for the latest news, reviews, and fan forum malarkey. Don't know. 4 stories. As mentioned, let's start with the title. Let's start with Michael Carrick, shall we? Why not? Let's start with Carrick. It is Carrick's one I think I'm talking about first. I believe so. So at lunchtime today, I spoke about this story that's gone out that Moyes is everything's been stalled and in terms of contract, and sort of went into it in a little bit more detail about basically. I genuinely don't think there's been a situation yet where a contract offer has been made to David Moyes and things like that. It's like, well, we've been down this road before several times already. He's not getting a contract. He's getting a contract. He's going to leave. He's not going to leave. We just don't know. And saying how, to be honest, it's a detriment to the club, I think, in terms of progressing and moving forward, regardless of whether it's a new contract or not a new contract. Anyway, a reports, which is always where we sort of say, we'll wait and see. A report from, that one was from Sports Lens in terms of that. And a report from TBR Football has stated that West Ham are exploring the possibility of replacing David Moyes with a special 42-year-old manager, and that being Mr. Michael Carrick. Now, we've spoken about sort of Michael as a potential option. And you know what? And I've said this before. Why not? We get spoken. We talk. The way we talk about Tim Steindl and bringing in when he brought in Xabi Alonso, who was in relatively obscurity from Real Sociedad B, I think it was, and plucked him and became head coach at Bayer Leverkusen. Now Carrick could be our Alonso, couldn't he? I mean, the report suggests we've been looking at 2 possible names. No talks have taken place, but both names have been revealed as Pablo Fonseca from Lille, who we've spoken about before, and Middles was Michael Carrick. Out of those 2, I'd take Carrick. I would take Carrick, and the reason why for me is Fonseca is quite a reputable name across Europe, and has managed at many big clubs. Does tend to sort of get sacked quite a lot as well. And it was only really until he went to Shakhtar Donetsk that he really made a name for himself. And obviously at Shakhtar Donetsk, pretty much they dominated the Ukrainian side, the Ukrainian Premier League. Was it Super League? I think it is in the Ukraine. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me. But I think Carrick, for me, is a better choice because I think he appeases a number of people. I think he appeases, the project people, and people talk about some of the names being linked to the likes of Alonso, Amarin, Slots, Hans Flick, and for me, they're not project managers. They are managers who are already established and have got a set way, and they've almost got a retrofit into Tim Steinton's vision. I think a younger manager is the way to go. I really do. I mean, you look at Brighton. We talk about the Brighton model all the time. Graham Potter, came in, did well. Relatively obscurity came from, obviously, albeit Swansea, but before then, the Swedish league. De Zerbi's come in. Again, no one knew who Roberto De Zerbi was, and now you've got De Zerbi ball. And I think, for me, Mika Richards on his podcast with Gary Lineker and Shearer, I think, on them, called him something special. And I think he is something special. Now, I think he could be a very smart appointment. It's obviously there's been no talks, and, he's currently doing well with Middlesbrough at the moment, but he comes with Premier League experience, playing, and also managing for a short time at Man United. And, for a squad overhaul, you want someone who's going to come in and build a squad. You want someone in who's got respect for younger players as well in what he has in terms of the number of games he played in the Premier League. He's also got that West Ham sort of association, which would appease a percentage of the fan base as well. And also, he comes from the academy as well. So we talk about the academy as well. And, I think he actually is good, would be a very shrewd signing, to be honest. Yes, he probably hasn't got the name power of Ruben Amorim, for example. But I think he ticks more boxes for me. Yeah, why not? Why not? And people will say, oh, he's not experienced enough. Well, Tim picked Xabi Alonso out of obscurity in terms of management experience, and look where he is now. So if he's trying to recreate that project with West Ham, maybe Michael Carrick could be our Alonso. But as it said, the report mentioned him and Pablo Fonseca. Both haven't had talks, but they are both apparently being eyed up. Aye, Savaloy, apparently. In terms of other things that are being eyed up, into the summer recruitment. And obviously, people say, oh, why are we looking at the summer's transfers already? Because we don't know the manager's going to be. Tim Steiden's involved in the transfers are his bag, isn't it? The transfers are his bag. So it's about building squads and looking at good deals and good selections. Now, we know someone like Ogbono. Ogbono's coming to the end of his contract. He will be highly unlikely. I don't think he'll be offered a new deal at all. But a report has come out and said that West Ham have Tosin. I can never pronounce his last name. Adebayo. I've got. It's not Adebayo, but I'll learn how to pronounce it when we sign him. As their first summer signing, the former Man City and current Fulham player, potentially, we'll say. And with that in mind, West Ham are looking at the possibility of bringing him in. Obviously, we need another centre back. Also, not just Jay Bonga, but the likes of Tilo Kira, all but leaving. Obviously, we're linked with people like Chalobah and stuff in the summer, and it's having a balancing act as well between bringing in the right players, but also meeting homegrown player status rules. And Tosin would do that. As you said, the report claims that Tosin's being lined up as our first signing, and it claims that we are battling AC Milan to sign the Fulham defender. I mean, if it's on a wage basis, we can't compete. They can't compete with us, in honesty. I mean, he's a good defender. Did he score against us when we played them? I think he will be. And the fact he's going to be available potentially on a free transfer makes good. He's 6'5" as well. He's a big lad. We did try and sign him in the summer, I think, as well. He's one of the many names. He's also meant to be on the radar of Bayern Munich, but having just signed Eric Dyer, I don't think that's going to happen as well. If we can secure European football, again, it's another attractive stick or carrot to dangle in front of Tosin in terms of negotiations when you're talking about the likes of AC Milan and stuff. And obviously, Londoner, well, he's not a Londoner, but he's currently in London, doesn't have to move too far as well. So it could be a very useful signing there, particularly within the squad development, definitely. And let's talk about a guy we did sign last summer, Andy Irvine. Do you remember him? Do you remember Andy Irvine? Anyone? He was one of the signings last summer. We signed Andy Irvine from SK Austria Klontenfach, and then obviously loaned him back to the Austrian club on the basis of we were setting up some sort of scouting feeder type thing, which I haven't heard nothing of since. He's apparently scored 4 goals and registered 4 assists in the last 16 games. His deal at West Ham lasts until 2026, and it's not yet clear if we're ever going to see him play in a West Ham shirt. That's at least according to a report in Leola 1. They're reporting it could be unlikely. The managing director of Austria Klontenfach, Gunter Gurunzel, has stated a decision to be made with David Moyes' side at the appropriate time over the 23-year-old's status with the club. They've had a chat apparently with the West Ham own player, and I mean, basically towards the end, Himself, they did a sort of a player interview, has talked about the dream of playing in the Premier League. Obviously, he was at Hearts originally. He moved to the lower league German side, Türkinger München, and they went into administration. Then Austria, Glundenfach signed him on a free transfer in 2022. He played very well for that side, and so much so that West Ham bought him and then reported he wasn't ready for the Premier League as such, and sent him back to Austria Glundenfach. People forgot about Andy Irvine, bless him. But he's having a decent season. He was quoted as saying in his interview that it's the best league in the world. I followed it when I was 6 or 7 years old. Since I was 6 and 7 years old, there's still a lot of work to do and improve on myself. Maybe then I can fulfill my dream. Well, still technically a West Ham player, and I still haven't seen what's happened with this feeder club stuff. We haven't sent anyone out there. Anyway, we're looking at sending players out, in terms of on loan. We've got, the likes of Callum Marshall. We've got like people like George Earthy, Caelan Casey. Why don't they go out to Osten Gluntenfag? Why not? And lastly, one of the players we did sell in January, Pablo Fornals. Do you remember him? He has broken his silence following his quite chaotic transfer to Real Betis. Obviously, it was on and off. Then it was on. Then it was off. And then it was back on. Then he left. He was quoted in the Spanish press talking about that hectic day. He was talking to Marca, the Spanish newspaper, and said, "We had 3 days of ups and downs. Moments when it seemed that I was there. Others when it seemed I was never going to arrive. The last 3 hours were very stressful because I had just said goodbye to my former teammates, and then I spoke to my manager. It seemed like everything was done, but no. What was missing? What was used to the facts? And now the little match program, and it didn't arrive. That day, neither my family nor the Real Betis family slept because we couldn't. But the next day, when it seemed that everything was going to be sorted out, it was a relief. I identified so much with West Ham, and I was so happy with my time there that I couldn't see myself playing for any other club in England other than West Ham. That's why my reference to the time there was running out, because it was time running out. Love to see. Hope he does well. And good luck to him at Real Betis. And yeah, it was a very chaotic time for everyone, wasn't it? Again, we never knew. We never found out what actually happened, did we? Was it a computing issue? Was it a silly buggers? Were we playing silly buggers? I don't know. I don't know, but it didn't look good in the club. That, and obviously the Leon loan deal with Ben Rama as well. So yeah, it was sad. It was sad demise, but he at least he got to say goodbye to the players. And yeah, for anyone who was there, he was in the tunnel for the whole game, really. And originally he was actually in the matchday squad for that. Then got pulled because it was all happening and stuff. But yeah, anyway, and that's it. And that's it, my friends. 4 stories today, you lucky buggers. If you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe. Keep an eye on the channel. We may have a live show tonight from the Have Your West Ham View boys. Just got to check whether they've got a family dinner. They have so many family dinners. But anyway, until next time, take care. Stay safe, stay warm. Don't forget to check out these@mybrand.com. Stay humble, keep the faith, and come on, you bloody irons.